I'm going to be talking to you about lost truths. The Lord God Yahweh has commanded me to reveal the truth to you in this hour because it's so important for the lives of so many people. All right. This is going to be a little shocking to a lot of people, but I'm hoping that those who are called to understand and receive it will receive it. There is no such thing as race. There is only empire. Let me explain. In the earlier programs, I told you that God is called the emanation from the full world paradigm. That is what Yahweh means. Now, when he got ready to create the earth, he started by creating humans from the dust of the earth. Now, we know the dust is brown. And the reason that the African Hebrew man, or the first Adam, was black is because when God blew into his nostrils the breath of life, it burnt his skin to a deep, dark black. In other words, humans would have been all brown, more or less like the Indians, and then black if it had not been for this creation process. So when he blew this breath, it also spread Adam's nostrils, because can you imagine God blowing his breath into the mouth of a human being? This creature was changed completely. And it was important because Adam was going to be that vessel of light. In other words, God's first temple to dwell in. So he had to be prepared and purified so that the sure exposure to God, once he was brought to life, would not kill him. God prepared him in a special way. So when you look at a very, very dark black man, you're looking directly at the descendant of the first Adam, who was burnt darker than any black you can imagine. Alright, also the hairs of his head were curled up because of this heat, this supernatural heat that poured through his body and every vessel and every atom, which was transformed. That's why people of African descent have so much spirit and soul, as they call it, so soulful. It's because part of God's soul was imputed into him also, so that he would be a vessel of light and righteousness to keep and promote the laws of God on the earth. Now, let's move on. Indians were the second creation. If you remember in Genesis, you have the first creation where God only created man, and later on he created Eve. And then later on in Genesis it says God created male and female, and told them to go out and subdue the earth. Now these people were created by speaking. God spoke and he formed them just like he formed Adam and Eve, but he commanded them to go forth and subdue the earth. He did not blow that breath. He only commanded. This is why Indians look, naturally just brown skin and straight hair, no curling of the hair, no spreading of the nostrils. And the reason I told you in the beginning that there's no race, there's only empire, is because God and his empire created these beings. It wasn't any race where there's people in cultures racing against each other. It was order. God is always a God of order. And he created these beings in a type of order. This first man was to be a priest, a type of prophet and priest that spoke the commandments and the laws of the earth and spread them out throughout the earth. The Indian man was to be the harmonious balance, to keep the earth working in harmony and beauty and peace and love. So these beings were created purposely in harmony together. There was no races. Races came into being once Adam and Eve fell by speaking and listening to Satan, who was in the beginning Lucifer. And let me explain a little bit about Lucifer. Lucifer was a warring angel in the beginning. He was a holy angel endowed with great and awesome wisdom because he was a warring angel. In other words, he was the angel that would go forth with armies and subdue other beings or anything that would try to come against the heavenly realm. must understand there are other beings in the universe. Earth is not the only place with inhabited beings. However, Earth was sort of like a flagship. It was going to be where people were groomed in order to be that flagship for all of creation. Even the Bible tells you in a certain place that so that the beings of the universe would know how to worship and submit to God. And that's another story in itself. We'll talk more about them later. Okay, getting back to Lucifer. Remember, he was a wise, beautiful creation. He was one of the first warring angels to be created. Warring angels are all white. They have blue eyes with piercing pupils. They have blonde hair. Their bodies are, that's why he was called Light Bringer, son of the dawn, because he was white. And in him were different stones created to be like a prism of light, mirrors reflecting like thousands of times over. So these were warring angels. In heaven there are different kinds of angels, and their bodies and the way they look tell you what their job is. So mankind sort of got it all twisted. He thinks humans, there is a race. There is no race of humans. There is only humans.